Election prediction 2024. It's still early, it's March. Elections until November, so a lot can change between now and November, but that's what predictions for, right? Predicting the future. So, I guess let's get into it, right? So, California, blue. Let's do the safe states first. California, Oregon, Washington, all safe blue. You have the left coast right there. Blue havens like Seattle, Portland, the Bay Area, Los Angeles, they're definitely carrying those states blue. Then you also have the blue safe havens of New York, Massachusetts, really most of this Northeast corridor, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. Right, blue. I think maybe the first district goes red, or one of the districts goes red. Other than that, though, most of the other ones are safe blue. You know. Um, Actually, let's increase the palette to 3. Okay, I think New Hampshire. Yeah, I don't think it's as blue as the other ones, but it's still definitely blue. The Northeast corridor right there, definitely strong blue, safe haven, as well New Jersey, definitely strong blue. I'm gonna put Maryland, Delaware up there as well. All right. Well, as far as the safe blue states, I think that's about it. Honestly, nothing I can see that's safe blue. Okay, let's go to safe red. So safe red, you have the southeast of the United States is pretty safely red. You have states like Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky. I think Georgia used to be in this category, but definitely not anymore. South Carolina safe red. Uh, Arkansas safe red. Louisiana safe red. You have Missouri that's safe red. Iowa safe red. Indiana safe red. Honestly, Ohio safe red. Ohio used to be a battleground state, but now it's red. It really is red. Um, Something like Nebraska is safe red. I think maybe one of their districts goes blue. Not by a lot, by a little maybe. The Omaha district, whichever one that is. South Dakota safe red. North Dakota safe red. A lot of these Midwest or Rocky Mountain states can be safely assumed they're safe red. Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Utah, Kansas. Oh yeah, Kansas and Oklahoma. All right, I think that's West Virginia. Yeah, West Virginia safe red. I think that's just about it, including the safe red. Oh, Illinois. I almost forgot to include Illinois in the safe blue. Chicago absolutely dominates the rest of Illinois. If not for Chicago, Illinois would be red, honestly. But Chicago dominates. Uh, the way Chicago goes is the way Illinois goes. That's just how it is, right? Oh, and DC. DC's not a state, so that's why I forgot it. DC safe blue. Always and forever will be. I don't see any way it's not safe blue. Alright, now to the likely category. I know Arya put New Hampshire in that category. I think Hawaii is in likely too. I do. Well, I don't know. I'll go safe actually. I feel like it's definitely safe. Likely, Alaska's likely. Alaska's likely. I don't think that Republicans win so huge, but Alaska's no question a red state at any point, right? I think Texas is also likely. Mm, Pass it up. Come on. There we go. Texas is likely. Florida's likely. Uh, Florida used to be flip state, just like Ohio was, but nowadays Florida's pretty safe red. And it's look at Miami-Dade County, safe red. It used to be a blue safe haven, and now it's almost a red safe haven, and it's kind of crazy thinking about it because Miami has a huge Latino population, and historically immigrants or minorities vote blue. That's just historically how it is. But really, when you look at Florida, a lot of the Latino population in Florida votes red, which is crazy trend that has happened in the last few elections, and it's more and more increasing that these people vote more and more red. So honestly, it's really interesting to look at election trends from past elections, how it will influence this election. Really interesting stuff here, ladies and gentlemen. I think North Carolina is likely, uh, or I'll do lean. Yeah, lean. Because Charlotte, Raleigh, Asheville, Fayetteville, these metro areas, they're blue. The rest of the state's red. So the state will vote red. It will. The state will vote red. I see Pennsylvania going red. I do. I think Trump wins a lot of the Rust Belt vote back from Biden. I know that Biden is, common Joe, everyday hardworking Joe, but I think that Trump wins some of that Rust Belt support back in cities like Pittsburgh, not the city of Pittsburgh itself, but the communities around Pittsburgh, Scranton, Allentown. Well, I mean, honestly, Scranton's Joe Biden's hometown, apparently, even though he's from Delaware or from Pennsylvania. I'm not sure. I'm trying to make this as unbiased as possible, by the way. I'm probably not going to vote for either of these two dudes in the election. So I guess I'm kind of unbiased. Not too sure. But let's go with it. Anyway, New Mexico's. It's blue. It is. The New Mexico Latino population, which dominates the state. I think over half the state, or close to half the state, is Latino. And the New Mexico Latino population does not vote red, similar to the Florida Latino population. It very much votes Democrat. And look at past elections, you can see it. New Mexico is voting Democrat a lot. And then you have places like Colorado. Colorado, unlike other parts of like the Midwest or West area, the rural communities in Colorado are actually liberal. They're actually blue. Um, of course, Denver dominates the state, and Denver is definitely blue. But a lot of these California small communities, they're like they're not strong blue, but they're Colorado's definitely more of a like libertarian like haven, libertarian, do as you will, kind of blue, skirting blue. It really is. And so you have 6 more states to go. You have Nevada, Arizona, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Virginia, Georgia. So in terms of Minnesota, that's another one of those states where the biggest metro area in the state absolutely dominates the state. And so that's the case with Minnesota. That Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities absolutely dominate this state. So whichever way they go, the rest of the state's going to go. That's just how it is. I think in the Iron Range, you also have blue pockets in the Iron Range. A lot of the rest of the state is red, but it's just one of those states that Minneapolis, St. Paul dominates that state. So Wisconsin is interesting. I actually predict Trump to regain Wisconsin by a narrow margin. By Michigan, I think Biden keeps Michigan. Again, by a narrow margin. When you look at Gretner, I don't think I'm pronouncing it right, but the governor of Michigan she got reelected for a second term, and do the people of Michigan like her? I'm not too sure. I don't think they hate her enough to get rid of her because she got a second term, I think Detroit is a huge factor in Michigan, obviously. The auto industry. I said earlier that Trump's going to kind of regain some of that footing with Pennsylvania and with Wisconsin. I just don't see him doing it with Michigan. I think it's a very good possibility that he will, but I don't see it as of right now. And this is a very tight election, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very tight election. Um, so let's go with Nevada next. Nevada, I'm gonna go with a slight tilt to the blue direction. I think that. Well, okay, I'm gonna do this to it. Come on, I'll do it like that. I think Nevada is blue. Similar to New Mexico, the high Latino population in Nevada tends to vote blue. You have Las Vegas dominating most of the state. Las Vegas votes blue. Las Vegas, Henderson, Paradise, that area, it votes blue. Um, and outside of Las Vegas and then Reno, there's really not a huge population in Las Vegas, in the rural communities even. So Nevada's gonna be blue. I think that Donald Trump isn't the most liked person in Nevada. Sorry. Same thing in Colorado. They try to get him off the ballot, right, in Colorado, which is kind of crazy to think about. Anyway, let's get back to it. You have Virginia, Georgia, and Arizona left remaining. These are three gonna be really tight, really tight. I think Virginia goes blue by a good margin actually. Um, you have the DC suburbs right there of Arlington, Alexandria. A lot of the population in Virginia actually lives on the border with DC, Maryland. That makes up a good amount of the population in Virginia. And of course, DC is that blue stronghold. And that, of course, also goes out to the suburbs of DC. So it's Virginia's going to vote blue. It is. I know they have a governor that's Republican, so that might influence a little bit. I still think Virginia goes blue, though. Arizona and Georgia, I know that those two flipped for Biden in 2020, and I was not expecting that at all. Arizona came out of nowhere for me. I thought Arizona was safe red, but ended up flipping for Biden, and Georgia as well. When you look at the demographic changes in both of the states, it kind of gives you a glimpse into why that is. So with Georgia, you have Atlanta growing larger and larger by every census. So Atlanta blue stronghold is growing larger and larger with every census, and it's taking up more and more of the state's population relative to the state, if that makes sense. So it's increasing its footprint on Georgia. It's becoming a bigger and bigger share of the Georgia population. Um, and Atlanta has a large minority population, African American population. The black population in Georgia and Atlanta specifically is large. And a very interesting thing to note that the African American or the black vote, it's going in favor of Trump. Actually, every minority group is moving towards Trump relative to where they were last election. You can look at polling data and just about any of the polls that I've seen anyway, that minorities are moving more and more towards Trump than they have in the past. Voting Republican in the past for minority was like, what? Are you crazy? But now it's become more and more of a thing. Like, yeah, I'm I'm going for Trump. You see things like blacks for Trump, Latinos for Trump. They don't have that same mindset as they did just 4 elections ago of vote blue no matter who. And on the flip side, these rural communities will have the vote red no matter what, and then the blue sides will have vote blue no matter who. It's kind of funny. With all that being said, with the changes in the black vote, increasing going for Trump, I see Georgia actually flipping back for Trump. Now that could not happen. That very well could not happen. I think Atlanta could dominate the state to go blue again. But as far as I see it as of right now, I see it with a slight tilt to red, and that does give Trump the edge for the election as of right now. I know it says Democrats, Republicans, but it's it's Trump and Biden. It is. Oh, we can actually, yeah. Wow, who would have known? Um, and then Arizona, I also see it flipping for Trump. Arizona's a very interesting case. A lot of Californians moved to Arizona, and that could be a reason why it went blue in the last election. A lot of Californians are unhappy with the current state. Things are really expensive in California, so they moved to Arizona. And the majority of Californians are blue, they're Democrats. So they moved to Arizona and also stayed with their political affiliation, the Democrats. And that could be a reason for why Arizona went blue last election. But in my understanding, from my standpoint anyway, I think Arizona will go red. I think something to do with that is how I was talking before. The Latino vote is increasingly going for Trump and over Biden. I mean, I know there could be just some discrepancies between what I said because I said Nevada and New Mexico Latinos don't historically vote for the Republicans, not for Trump, and I see that being the case because New Mexico, Nevada, their Latino populations are different throughout the U.S. They really are. That's why I have those two going blue in Arizona, Florida with the high Latino populations, as well as Texas going red. Okay. I guess this is how I see the election playing out. I think RFK will actually have a huge impact on the election. I may be a little biased with that opinion because I like RFK. I obviously don't see him winning any state at all, but I think he takes a good amount of vote from both Biden and Trump. I really do. Um, he doesn't win a state, but I think he can take enough votes to sway a particular state between one or the other candidate. I can see him actually getting like 15 to 18% of the vote. That's on the high end. That's the absolute max he can get is 18% in my opinion. Like 15 to 18, that's the maximum. I think honestly he's gonna get at least 6% of the vote. I really do. Because a lot of young people like myself like RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I think he's a strong candidate. As far as winning, no, but he's a strong candidate in my view. Another third party candidate that you have is Cornel West. I think that he sways some of the Biden voters. I don't think he'll sway any of the Trump voters. He is more liberal than Biden, and definitely more liberal than a your average Republican voter. So he's not gonna really get any of the Trump vote. He will get some of the Biden vote. Some of the liberals that are more left of Biden that see Biden as more of a centrist, more of a old school, I guess, conservative type Democrat. They might be likely to vote for Cornel West because Cornel West is that liberal candidate far left from Biden. Maybe not far left, but more left than Biden. So I can see Cornel West getting anywhere from 1 to 3% of the overall election vote. 3% being the high end, 1% being the low end, 2% being like the middle, I guess, kind of where I see him getting it, if that makes sense. As far as other third party candidates, there really is no other huge candidates. I know the No Labels Party is doing whatever they want. I guess they're not really. It's not an issue. They're whoever candidate they decide. It's not. It's not gonna be a factor. I mean, they're trying to decide a candidate like 5 months before the election. It's weird, crazy in my opinion, but whatever. So here's the election prediction, folks. This will change. My election prediction will change closer to the election. I might release another one of these videos in like October, a couple days before the election, to get my final thoughts on everything, my final thoughts on how this will all turn out, how this will go, because this is just my preliminary thoughts. Trump is no doubt the nominee. Biden is no doubt the nominee. So these are the two men we're gonna have to choose from. Rerun from 2020. Just run it back, right? So yeah. Let me know what y'all think about this map. I think it's a pretty good map. You have some controversial picks. I think Georgia's controversial, Arizona's controversial, Michigan's controversial, Wisconsin and Pennsylvania as well. Those are the five like big swing states in my opinion, as I see it. Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. So those five states will decide the election. I have four of those five going to Trump. I could very well have three of those five going to Biden and being an easy Biden victory. I could have all five going to Trump and it being a good Trump win. It just, those five are too close to call. I can't do it. Look at polling. Don't look at me. Alright, everyone. This is me signing out. Adios.